Good morning, it's Harvey Jackson. StatsCan came out 7:30. Have a smaller carryout in a lot of cases, but they revised past year's numbers up. Not a surprise. They just don't know how to do math and don't know how to get the numbers that are right in front of their faces. I think they should be using AI, honestly, but let's just have a look at it. Here's the table, and you can see that we end up with a carryout, and canola and wheat are probably the ones I'm going to focus in on, but 1.597, and your wheat 3.6. But they did move up these numbers from the previous years, and you can see Mitch Miller, he talks about it, and it's just he says administrative, but I probably don't have his kind of words. The there's way too many people tripping over each other in the government, and they don't know how to get anything done. But we'll leave it at that for the moment. The harvest progress is slowed from the previous week, but we do have 18% of the canola harvested in Manitoba, and we moved up into the 70s for spring wheat. Probably advanced that quite a bit this week, even though we're going to get some more showers, and it definitely looks like we're going to have a slowing pace, and the same thing in Saskatchewan as well. Other big news: Poland shoots down some Russian drones that violated their airspace, and there's we'll see what kind of reaction that Trump has over this. Is there going to be more sanctions going on, or is there going to be an all-out a NATO versus Russia conflict here? Because Poland is part of NATO, they want some backing there as well, especially if they keep on encroaching the border. Dollar fell pretty hard yesterday, and I mentioned this earlier, yesterday's news as well, but 911 million or 911,000 fewer jobs over the past year. And it got revised just yesterday, and it made the market kind of go into a bit of a turmoil. But I think it's going to solidify the fact that they should, or the Fed should be reducing interest rates. I wouldn't doubt the weight of near 90 or 80% is a 25 basis point decrease in the U.S. will probably go to 50, so half a point possible. And we're still expecting a quarter point on the 17th there as well in the Canadian dollar. China yuan softens on weak inflation data. So China's numbers came out, and you got to remember that there's it's skewed for the numbers for themselves for sure. They've been injecting a pile of money in there, but they have basically huge competition to sell goods, and they're basically pushing the prices down. U.S. misses out on billions of dollars of Chinese soybean sales. This is not new news, but I did highlight a couple different areas. And again, it still can pick up, but I think it's the Chinese delegation is definitely waiting for some sort of deal on tariffs with the U.S. And now that there's a lawsuit basically saying tariffs may be going to the Supreme Court as far as their legality, they might just wait that out as well because they can afford to, even though they're buying more expensive product from Brazil. It says right here, U.S. Rate. U.S. Soybeans are about 80 to 90 cents a bushel cheaper than the Brazilian beans for the September-October shipment. So you would think that that would put the pressure on it, but and again, China is not against putting pressure on their own people. EU clears Malaysia palm oil. This is not really getting priced in yet, but that is good news, I think, for supporting oil or the veg oil. The cattle market just absolutely collapsed yesterday with limit down, with expanded limits going to be at 13.75 on Wednesday. But we'll have to see how this all plays out. There's just weakness in the cattle market, and it's expected that it was going to happen, but let's see if this continues as well. Active weather, you can see that there's a band of rain there, and we're getting pop-up showers up here as well. Here's just the radar for the next day or so, and you can see that there's still some pop-up showers that are going to jump across there. This is from the Nutrien website here, so it looks like we're going to stay wet here, long range, and dry where the harvest needs to progress, but we're going to stay cold and wet for the later part of September, and that's not good news if we want to try to get our harvest completed here. Just a quick look at the market. The canola is down or is up a couple of dollars. Rapeseed is up just a quarter of a penny, and soybean oil is basically unchanged, flat, and your soybean is down, and your wheats are basically just down fractions of a penny as well. So if we just look at the canola here, you're basically starting to trade a little bit sideways here for the last so far this week and the latter part of last week. Still, it might be consolidating here. European rapeseed, a couple of up days here, but they're closer to the bottom. This is the full retracement is right there, so they're very close to the bottom. Currently 131 differential between the European rapeseed and Canadian canola priced in Canadian dollars. That is favoring possible exports or exports of canola into Europe. Soybean oil futures continue to slide. Looks like it's going to try to get closer to that 200-day moving average there. Crude palm oil futures still supported, but basically trading sideways. But it had a little bit of a rough day overnight here. Canadian dollar still looks like it's in this downward trend. I am still looking, in that 74-cent range to equalize some of the exchange or the accounts. In one of the articles posted, I thought I would just maybe put this in. This is the Chinese yuan against the U.S. dollar. It is pretty low, so it's actually looking like it's maybe a little bit stronger economy than the U.S. But that would be false to say because their dollar is definitely supported by their government, a lot different than the U.S. And yeah. Wheat still on the slide. Looks like we've got a little bit of a recovery there, but it looks like we're going to try to retrace back to the lows that we had last week. Your Kansas City futures, they up there a couple of days ago, and then were pulled back yesterday. We're still looking like we're just trying to trade in a neutral stance here. I still like, getting back into this market for the upside. It does appear that, the 502. 503 area is a supportive area on Kansas. Your Chicago wheat futures chopping sideways. Your milling wheat still continuing to go sideways here. Your corn futures sideways here as well, but up against the support line. There's a couple moving averages that could be supportive for this corn market. Here's your limit down move on your live cattle or your feeder cattle, and then your live cattle, big move there as well. And that's all I have for you today.